A black girl was caught stealing by the store owner, but instead of being scared, she actually threatened the owner, saying she would kill him tonight. However, the girl wasn't joking because today is the annual purge. From 7 p.m. tonight to 7 a.m. tomorrow, murder isn't restricted by law. Due to a population boom, unemployment and crime have risen every year. To relieve public pressure, America designated March 21st as the purge. On this day, anyone can kill or be killed, regular citizens or government officials, even the president is not exempt. Before the purge begins, the president hides in advance in a heavily guarded safe house. It is equipped with advanced surveillance equipment and many guards stationed around it. Several top bodyguards provide close protection, and with a meter-thick steel barrier outside, it's basically an impenetrable fortress. As the alarm sounded, the killing day officially began. Crossbones is the president's personal bodyguard in charge of his safety. Compared to the calm inside the safe house, the outside world is a living hell. All kinds of monsters and maniacs roam the streets, and homeless people are their prey. Even outside the Lincoln Memorial, bodies are piled everywhere. The store owner, threatened earlier by Amanda, the black woman, had armed himself and waited in the basement. Before he could settle in, he heard a noise behind him. Thinking Amanda had come to assassinate him, he was startled, only to find it was just John, the store clerk. As they talked, a flashy car pulled up nearby. When the car doors opened, several masked people covered in blood stepped out. They wore bright, flashy clothes, each with an AK rifle, acting wildly, like they were born for this. As the boss grew curious, the woman leading the group removed her mask. It was Amanda, who had stolen things earlier. She had come back to kill. The boss didn't panic. She fired a shot at the ground to warn them, but the others didn't take her seriously. Seeing this, John fired and blew off Amanda's ear, then threatened her, saying if she didn't leave, he'd blow her brains out. Realizing she was no match, Amanda got in the car to get reinforcements. Meanwhile, Crossbones stayed by the president, reassuring him there was nothing to worry about and he was safe here. The president expressed confidence in his abilities. While they talked, two security guards exchanged a glance, as if they had already planned everything. One stood guard at the door, while the other sat at the computer and switched the surveillance footage to a recording from 20 minutes earlier. Afterward, they secretly sent a text to someone outside. At this moment, Crossbones was still unaware that the two colleagues beside him had already betrayed him. 2.5 minutes later, all the security guards outside were silently taken out. Then, a group of heavily armed assassins walked up to the safe house door. With the bodyguards helping from inside, they got in and quickly took out all the bodyguards inside as well. At this moment, Crossbones noticed something was wrong. The security guard's actions didn't match the surveillance footage. He refreshed the feed and realized all the security outside had already been killed. He instantly knew things were going south, so he rushed into the president's room, handed him a bulletproof vest, quickly opened a hidden compartment in the floor, and managed to jump out a second-floor window before the assassins arrived. When the traitor led the assassins to the room, it was already empty. While the traitor was at a loss, the lead assassin immediately spotted the hidden passage under the carpet. Calmly, he took off his black nylon mask, and to everyone's surprise, he was the Marine Corps commander. He pulled out a walkie-talkie and reported the situation at the scene to someone else. Then, one of them spotted the two running. The assassin set up his sniper rifle and fired at them. Just as Crossbones was about to fight back, he was shot in the shoulder. In a life-or-death moment, he quickly grabbed his phone, triggered shots, and the bomb on the desk. Although they escaped the assassin, the streets on the day of slaughter were still dangerous. The place no longer looked clean and tidy. Bodies were everywhere. Crossbones was cautious as he led the president through the crowd of bodies. Crossbones was extremely careful. He was still suddenly grabbed by a masked man who jumped out. At the crucial moment, the president grabbed a fire poker and struck the enemy, letting Crossbones break free. But just as they took down the last enemy, two more people suddenly rushed at them from behind and knocked them out with electric shocks. When the two woke up, they found themselves surrounded by masked people holding weapons. When these people saw the newcomer was the president, they became excited and rushed forward, as if they wanted to tear the two apart. They grabbed the president by the neck, venting anger, and some even pulled out knives and pointed them at the president. This scene was witnessed by the boss on the rooftop. Without hesitation, the two opened fire at the maniacs, and soon they were all shot down, leaving not a single one standing. After that, the boss offered to take them in. With no other choice, the president had to swallow his pride and follow the boss to the supermarket. Crossbones didn't dare let his guard down. To prevent more accidents, he inspected the supermarket. After confirming it was safe, the terrified president relaxed. As he thanked the boss, John spotted new danger on the surveillance cameras. Amanda, who had just been driven away not long ago, returned for revenge. This time, she brought helpers and chainsaws, vowing to kill them. Crossbones, unfazed, stood at the front, leading the charge, while the boss and John lay in ambush at the back, ready to open fire when they broke through the door. 2.5 minutes later, a slit was cut in the rolling shutter door, and an all-out battle was inevitable. Just as Amanda was celebrating, an ambulance suddenly burst out and ran two people over. The female driver got out, pulled out a shotgun, and took down her targets one by one with a single shot each. When she looked back, she saw Amanda still alive, and Amanda shot at her. Everyone in the building felt confused. Hearing a familiar voice, Boss opened the door. It turned out the two were old friends. Susan was this neighborhood's boss, and after the government established Purge Night, she joined the resistance. Every night before Purge Night, she would drive an ambulance around the streets, helping the wounded who had nowhere else to go. Now, this place is no longer safe. Everyone quickly got into Susan's ambulance and headed to the underground rescue center run by the resistance, where militia guards made it safer. But unexpectedly, just as the vehicle was halfway there, an armed helicopter suddenly appeared and launched a frenzied attack on them. Although no casualties were caused, this isn't a solution. Susan quickly drove the ambulance under an overpass to avoid being pinned down by enemy fire, but this move was spotted by the enemies in the helicopter.
There was no way they could have known we'd be in this van.
These words reminded Crossbones. He looked at his gunshot wound, understood, and quickly grabbed forceps from the ambulance to remove the bullet. Sure enough, this bullet was transmitting a signal. As they prepared to leave, a large group of gang members surrounded them, pounding on the car like crazy. At this moment, the boss, who was in a gang, tried whistling. Instantly, everything outside the car went quiet, and the other side responded. The boss explained this was a secret code used by the Viper gang. If you whistle, it proves you're one of them, so they stopped attacking. Then the boss opened the car door, and it turned out these people weren't there to attack. Instead, the gang leader's son was injured and needed help. Seeing that the other side needed their help, Crossbones seized the opportunity and struck a deal with them. A few minutes later, the assassins arrived under the bridge where the tracker signal was coming from, but there wasn't a soul in sight. They only found the tracking bullet. That's when they realized they'd walked right into a trap, but it was already too late. With the sound of a whistle, dozens of gang members surrounded them from all sides.
Granny, come in.
They made it safely to the underground relief center, where there were doctors, supplies, and protection. After that, the president met Bishop, the leader here. Bishop had been organizing actions against Purge Night, which matched the president's goals. But because he threatened certain interests, the president was targeted for assassination on Purge Night. Bishop and his group were willing to do everything to protect him. This allowed Crossbones to breathe a sigh of relief for now. While the doctor bandaged his wound, he noticed Bishop's deputy going in and out of the office often. This made Crossbones suspicious, so after the deputy left with some people, he slipped into the room. He never expected to make a shocking discovery. The people in the photos were the vice president and senior officials who supported him. They were going to hold a ritual at the church tonight. Bishop planned to use this chance to wipe out the vice president's faction that backed Purge Night, and had even dug a tunnel to the church for this. But after hearing this, the president objected, feeling such an act was too cruel and would not change Purge Night. While the two argued, a large group of armed militia came after them again. With no choice, Crossbones took the president and escaped by car through the back. But they hadn't gone far before an armored vehicle screeched to a stop in front and flipped their car. Dazed, the president was taken by the enemy. Crossbones got up and fired to stop them, but it was too late. However, he could more or less guess who was really behind these people. He turned back and found the resistance group about to go to the church and told them that the president had been captured. Just like that, what was an assassination mission became a rescue. Meanwhile, the vice president gave a passionate speech in the church. Seated below were top officials and wealthy people from across the country, all Purge Night supporters. Although everyone is equal on Purge Night, in reality it's always the poor who die, which basically means the rich get to keep their wealth. Soon, the president was forced on stage. When the white cloth was lifted, he was stunned. Staring at the vice president, his longtime colleague, he couldn't believe it. The vice president was about to kill him in front of everyone to win their support. But none expected Crossbones had already brought his team to the church. As the scissors moved toward the president's neck, at the critical moment, Boss, who arrived just in time, pulled the trigger. Everyone started shooting. Crossbones' team had the high ground and gained the upper hand. But then, an armed special forces unit stormed into the church. Their firepower was overwhelming, pinning everyone down and making it impossible to look up. Suddenly, the gunfire stopped. When Crossbones and his team looked, they saw all the enemies already on the ground. Bishop ambushed them with his team. Problem solved. Everyone rescued the president. After stopping the threat, they rescued the president and caught the vice president. Soon, the president ended Purge Night, letting people live in peace again.